Hey guys, Hassan, one of my Mechanic once again with a brand new video for you, and welcome to episode 17 of our MotoGP 14 Career Mode Let's Play, and the Season 2 finale, funnily enough. Unfortunately, it's kind of a flat season finale because of where we're at in terms of the championship. As you can see, Tito Rabat is already world champion. He's got a 59-point lead with 2 rounds to go. I'm now in a fight with Mika Kallio and Maverick Vinales for second in the championship overall, which would be pretty neat. Turns out Jack Miller's already Moto3 world champion in his class, and in MotoGP, Marc Marquez is on the brink of winning that championship then. He's got 380 points. He's an absolute monster. But yeah, in this episode we're going to talk about the final round in Sepang and some upcoming plans as well I want to get through as well. So yeah, we had the final Grand Prix of the season in Valencia. Obviously the traditional season finale. I think it has been since like 2003 or something. Ridiculous like that. But as you go to Sepang for the penultimate round of this championship, we'll talk about the real last round championship of this game. It's been I'm still ridiculously rusty because I just don't play this game as much as I would like to because it's my brother's PS4, not mine. But I still think I'll be enough to get like a podium maybe, because Sepang's one of my better tracks. But yeah, in the MotoGP category, Marc Marquez just continues to make history. His 13th win of the season, a new MotoGP class record. No one has ever won 13 Grand Prix in a season. The real surprise was Valentino Rossi on pole position, the first time he's been on pole position since Le Mans 2010. Where I'm pretty sure he said, last time I was on pole position we were still racing in black and white. His 50th MotoGP top class pole position, his 60th overall in his career, I think. And like I said, it was over 5 years now, nearly 5 years since his last one. Shame it couldn't quite translate into the race. It was Andrea Iannone who had the early lead. He had another brilliant start and tried to take off, but with classic Ducati, just didn't have the tyres to hold on the whole way, which is unfortunate because I think it was actually a really it's just a solid bike. It really is. It's just kind of a shame that they haven't got the because of the open class concessions, they haven't really got the tyre wear to last the entire distance. But Iannone had another decent ride until he thought going into the pits to change bikes was a good idea, following Lorenzo in. It was raining on and off throughout the Grand Prix, but never enough to really warrant changing to wet bikes. And when it was raining a little bit, Marquez was struggling a little bit, but when it was dry, he was by far the fastest man on the track. And I think Lorenzo could have been a contender, but Lorenzo, I think, has got a genuine fear of oh my god, he just turned out in the middle of that. Oh, good course, he went flying as well. Holy crap. Ah, shoot! Let's try this again. There we go. It's been a while. But yeah, Lorenzo, I think, just seems to have developed a genuine fear of the wet. I think he still has a little bit of ghosts from Ass in 2013 in his mind, where he obviously broke his collarbone in that nasty high side he had. I think it was like 150 odd miles an hour. That was last season, and yeah, I can see why, to be honest. It was a nasty crash, and it probably ruined his season before we even realised the damage it would do. But yeah, just he basically went in the pits with about 6 laps to go, changing bikes, thinking if it gets any wetter they'll be the big winners, and it turns out it just didn't work that way really. It's a shame. It was a very marginal call, because I know Rossi, Pedrosa and Marquez all admitted they were very close to changing bikes themselves. I think a lot of them still had Aragon from earlier this season fresh in their minds. But it was another dominant win for Marquez really. Rossi just wasn't a contender race pace wise on the day, which is a shame. But yeah, I mean, and besides that, you had Pedrosa, who kind of rode his own race in third. It was a very distant third from the front too. It was about 10 seconds further down from Marquez, which is kind of telling of the season really between Marquez and Pedrosa. But further back, the two Ducatis had a nice little fight there in 4th and 5th. That was very fun. Dovizioso narrowly beating out Crutchlow for 4th place. It's nice to see that Crutchlow seems to have finally got to grips with that Ducati. Just as he's about to leave the team, which I still find hilarious. It's like, just when Crutchlow's getting the hang of it, oh, he's going to Honda. It's amazing how these things turn out. Ooh, sorry, we gave Cortese a bit of a bump there. Whoops. But yeah, like Crutchlow 4th. So Crutchlow 5th actually, just behind Dovi in 4th, who's on the GP 14.2. You know, with a slightly smaller fuel tank, so it's not much of a physical effort to ride that bike around. But yeah, besides that, that was most of the relevant talk in MotoGP taken care of. Marquez, like I said, breaks Mick Doohan's record of 12 with his 13th win of the season. I know Julian Ryder was very quick to point out that Mick Doohan won his 12 in a 15 race championship, so it doesn't really mean the same. My response to that is the quality of opposition in MotoGP now is much better than what it was when Doohan was riding. Doohan only really had contention from his teammate Alex Crivier, and Crivier was not in his league back then. So, to me, I don't quite value Doohan's 12 as much as Marquez's 13, considering the top 4. Like, the other guys in the Fantastic Four, who are the only 4 guys to have won races in the last 2 seasons, Pedrosa, Rossi, Marquez, Lorenzo. Like, though, if you take Marquez out of the equation, those 3 dudes have 16 World Championships between them in all categories. Like, Rossi has 9, Lorenzo has 4, and Pedrosa has 3. So, like, it's kind of an unfair comparison, really. Like, oh well, Marquez Marquez would have had to have won 15 races to match Doohan's 12 in terms of percentage, because Doohan won 80% of the races in the season, Marquez won 72%. Oh, diddums. And the thing is, as well, I understand people obviously like the old school stuff, but Marquez's season is definitely better than Doohan's, and you know, it might be as good a season as we'll ever see in the top class to win 10 straight. It's funny thing is, Jorge Lorenzo would have been world champion if the championship had started in Brno. But once again, Lorenzo left it too late. If Lorenzo wants to challenge next year, he's got to be at his best from the very first round. Because this season, Lorenzo threw it away by essentially crashing in Qatar, and then the jump start in America. He gave Marquez 44 free points. You can't do that with a guy like Marquez. He's too good. He's too good. Anyway, I'm going to talk more about that in the future, because I've got season reviews planned for MotoGP 2 and 3. So keep your eyes peeled on that. They're going to be big video projects, and hopefully they turn out to be quite good. Moto2 was a very straightforward race, not very exciting at all really, a very distant spread out field. The main action was the battle for the lead between, it was actually the 2 guys who are in a complete class of their own in this round, and it was Tito Rabat, obviously the world champion in Moto2, and Thomas Luthi, who was at a very good end of season run-in. Luthi gave Rabat a good fight right till the last lap. Luthi tried a last lap move, didn't work, he lost too much time, but Rabat ran out of fuel on the finish line. Basically, he was trying to pop a wheelie, he revved the engine up, it didn't really work out because the engine was already close to the limit. Whoa, a bit of a high side there. I'm pushing too hard out of this last corner. But yeah, like I was saying, is that basically Rabat didn't have enough fuel in the bike, launched the thing up for a big victory wheelie, put all the fuel to the back of the tank, not where the pipe is to put it into the engine, and as a result, just like that, boff. He runs out of fuel and he gift wraps Thomas Luthi a win. Which I thought was just hilarious. Oh, let's go the long way around on Luty here. Oh, Haggert's trying it as well down the inside. But yeah, it was a kind of a mediocre race, really. Not very much happened. But yeah, Luty got a, like I said, a gift of a win. Got down to 1 flashback. Holy shit. But yeah, as I said, it was kind of a mediocre race. Rabat taking the win from Luty. Who was third again? I've completely forgotten who came in third. That's how mediocre a race it was. I think it was Johan Zarco who came third. Zarco's again had a very good end of season run on that Caterham Suter. I think it was Luis Salom in fourth, who finally found some form again after a decent first half, but a terrible second half of the season involving flops, high sides, and petulant bitch fits. Nice to see Sam Lowes in it. I think he finished in 7th as well for representing Great Britain on the speed-up bike as well. Moto3 had the fantastic season for... Actually, I want to mention the Moto2 as well. Maverick Vinales torpedoing Mika Kallio on the first lap. Basically ending Maverick's slim chances of getting second in the championship, the poor fella. Shame that, because Mika Kallio did have a genuine shot of you know, winning that race and maybe getting second in the championship, because Kallio's had a kind of a bad end of the season. But yeah, there you go. Maverick seems to do his collarbone in as well in the process. Yeah, he's slow on this last corner. But yeah, Moto3 obviously had the great big season finale at the end there, between Jack Miller and Alex Marquez. It was a great race. Again, Miller put in everything on the line to try and win, and it was a brilliant performance from Miller, who took another win. I think his 6th of the season. The highlight of that was definitely the field getting spread out towards the end, but then Miller making up 1.5 seconds on race leader Isaac Vinales right at the end and passing him for the win. While, oh, nice pass, Maverick, well played. But at the same time, Alex Marquez had done just enough in 3rd place to win the championship. I think there was a lot of team orders going on in the Honda camp, to be honest. Funnily enough, KTM didn't give their riders team orders for this final round. Danny Kent was racing for himself, but Kent nearly got a podium at the end. He was chasing down Marquez at a rate of knots, but had the wobble going over the hill into the penultimate corner, and that was that. I think Efren Vasquez would normally, and Alex Rins would normally be a lot more threatening if it wasn't for that. So it's like, I think there was a lot of team orders in that Grand Prix, but it doesn't matter, because Alex Marquez is Moto3 World Champion by just 2 points over Jack Miller in the end, 278 to 276. I feel a little bit bad for Miller. He almost clawed back a 25-point deficit in 3 rounds, which would have been just ungodly if he had done that, because it looked like it was Marquez was going to win the championship after Motegi, and it just didn't quite happen for him. But such is life. Miller will be fine. I mean, he described testing with MotoGP in his open class Honda as the best day of his life, so I don't think he's too upset that he missed out on the championship. Alex Marquez has got to immediately face Tito Rabat in Moto2 at the Mark VDS team next year, which is going to be fun. But it looks like Kallio got the win. Just ahead of Rabat and Vinales. Couldn't quite get them in time. We've had another lap maybe. But,
we wait for the celebration.
oh, Rabat beat Kallio on a photo. How about that? I was in 4th there, just beating Thomas Luty and Dominique Agata. So, it's going to be a shootout between me and Kallio for 2nd. That's going to be fun. Need some more fans, bruh. That 4th was just a little bit unlucky. But, there you go. Final round of Valencia coming right up. season finale-wise. But like I said before, look at Marquez makes the MotoGP Championship. 400 points. Good lord. So let's go to the final round at Valencia. We've got a testing session as well, so we'll do the test as well before starting the MotoGP season, which I think is going to be with Forward Yamaha to start off. The same team that Alicia Spagaro is currently leaving. We had some testing as well the day after, which was interesting. Some interesting things popped up, like seeing Scott Redding on a factory bike for the first time, and Suzuki making their Grand Prix debut. They returned during MotoGP as a wildcard for this Grand Prix, but Randy Lepunier was really uncompetitive, really, and he just wasn't that great out there at all. And they seemed to almost run out of engines too, because they just had a lot of technical faults and they couldn't handle longer runs, which is kind of a shame. They've got some work to do, but they showed some promise in testing. I mean, Alicia Spagaro did a 31.9 around Valencia in testing, which was only about 9/10 off the top. So if Suzuki are already there, now they've turned the engines up a little bit and are running with concessions and running, what they were meant to run in the first place. Then I don't know how much of that is Alicia Spagaro and how much of that is the bike, but if that's an indicator, Suzuki are a bit closer than I thought they were going to be, which can only be a good thing. I really hope that they do well next year. Like I said before, Alicia Spagaro and Maverick Vinales is a brilliant frigging team to put together. Alicia is like the Nico Hülkenberg of MotoGP. He just hasn't been given a chance on a proper bike to see how good he really is, but the talent has always shone through with Alicia. And Maverick Vinales, what a guy to build a team around. He's still only 19 years old. He had the best rookie season in Moto2 history. And just in general, he looks ridiculously solid. I just hope it all works out for him. It's a ridiculously talented team, and there's no reason why they can't be in the midfield next year, challenging for good points. The midfield is going to be absolutely loaded next year in MotoGP, for sure. Like, the top four, I think, are pretty much set in stone. I don't think Ducati have got enough to challenge those dudes consistently yet. But I will say, positions 5 to 15 are going to be so good next year. You've got Mark VDS with Scott Redding in the top class. You've got the faster production open class Hondas, which apparently are going to be a second a lap faster due to the extra power they've got underneath them, which is going to be very fun. So you've got that. You've got the Pramac boys, the Dino Petrucci now at Pramac instead of Andrea Iannone, who's going to the factory team. Crutchlow replacing Bradl on that LCR team. You've got Loris Baz from World Superbikes now with the Forward Yamaha team alongside Bradl, who could be contenders. They've got a much more well-rounded, balanced team than just Alicia Spagaro flying the flag for Forward Yamaha, while his teammates was obviously Colin Edwards and Alex Jandris, who were both pretty poor, to be honest. So they've got a much more balanced team there. So if Baz can adapt to these bikes fast, alongside Bradl, who's adapting from Honda to Yamaha, there's no reason why they can't kick some serious arse next year. Because you've got to remember, Forward Yamaha were 4th in the Constructors' Championship. Only the big 3 factory teams were better. So that should be a sign for you right there, Because remember, Yamaha are developing their own gear alongside the Yamaha support that they get. That's going to be a factor as well. So that midfield is going to be so stacked. So I can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to have a full MotoGP season review on this channel and on my website, harrison101.com. Prefer it maybe next week. That's the plan. It's going to be a long video, maybe 45 minutes to an hour. There's going to be a lot of talking involved, but hopefully it'll work out quite nicely in the end. That's the plan, at least. So yeah, that for MotoGP, and hopefully 2 and 3 as well. There was a lot less to talk about in 2 and 3, but Moto3 was ridiculously competitive this year. I'm also going to kind of preview next year's grids. I might do a little bit of that in this video to fill some of the time out. But we have 25 bikes in the top class next year, which is fantastic. It's great to see the grid looking a little bit more healthy, because trust me, it wasn't that long ago when everybody was scoring points and there was 15, 16 bikes on the grid, compared to where we're at now, where we've got 25, and Suzuki are back and Aprilia are coming back. They finally confirmed in testing that it's going to be Marco Melandri alongside Alvaro Bautista in that team. So Melandri making his return to MotoGP, I think after something like 6 years out. He's going to be back alongside Alvaro Bautista, who obviously had a lot of help in making Aprilia the team they were in the past, when they was, I think, in 125s and 250s. But back when Bautista was absolutely beasting. Not so much this year, but still. We get past Salom and Agata here. We got a good run. Drafting. Agata just clean up rolling past Salom on the slipstream there. Yeesh. Alright, Agata, looking ballsy, I see. Yeah, in Moto2 is going to be a lot of fun things happening in there. The thing I'm gutted about in Moto2 is, like I said in a previous video, talking about how all the field are switching to Kalex bikes. Like, there's going to be 23 Kalex bikes on next year's grid. And, you know, Dominique Agata and Thomas Luthi are the two big ones making switches. Switching from Suter to Kalex. And the Technomag and Interwitten teams kind of merging together. So you've got the Swiss super team of Agata and Luthi together, which is going to be very fun to watch, because those two are both very, very good riders. And Agata, I think, is the most underrated rider in Moto2. I think Agata is seriously good. I don't think he gets anywhere near the press that he deserves. And he was, you know, to finish 5th in the championship this year, given the fact that Mark VDS was so dominant, is a sign of just how good a rider he is. You know, the only guy that was even close to challenging him consistently over the course of the year was Maverick Vinales on the Pons Kalex bike, and Vinales is just a freak, quite frankly. He's the best rider, in my opinion, not in the top classes. I've always mentioned how Rabat's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, and I actually honestly think sticking in Moto2 was probably the best decision for Rabat, rather than going into MotoGP immediately and probably getting exposed. I don't think he wants to be another Kallio, a guy who went up to the top class, but with a bad team like Pramac, and, you know, they made Kallio look worse, and when Kallio looked bad, he was like, thing is, you're only really given one chance in MotoGP. It's very rare that someone leaves the sport then is able to come back. Melandri's kind of a rare exception to that way of thinking, but on the whole, it just doesn't happen very often. So, you know, I don't think Kallio could have gone to Forward Yamaha. He was given offers from MotoGP bikes, but like I mentioned in a previous episode, Kallio just wasn't being paid enough, according to what he had to say. Simply put, he wanted the money, and the Taltrans in Moto2, who he's going to be riding for next year alongside, I think it's Lorenzo Baldassari next year, or is it Baldassari, is it Franco Morbidelli? I think it's Morbidelli, actually, next year, where he essentially said that they weren't paying me enough, and, you know, Taltrans opened the checkbook for him. You know, good to see. You know, get that money. I mean, he's 33 years old. He's not going to be around for much longer. So, you know, maximize your earnings before you know, leave the way and, you know, get out of here. You know. See, that's all that stuff taken care of. So that's going to be one thing to look out for in Moto2. The amount of Kalex is dominating the field next year. It's a shame, because Moto2 used to be all about celebrating different chassis and different makes, and now it's becoming a true one-make series, because, like, we all know that Suter, you know, is close, but Suter's never been a consistent threat. They've never been a consistent threat to the top, unfortunately. And, you know, then you got the other chassis like Speed Up, which Sam Lowes and Anthony West were on this year, who weren't competitive consistently. And then you have guys like Tech 3, like Schrotter, who had a very good season, but just kind of missed out overall, really. As for Moto3, all the hype's going to be about Fabio Quartararo coming in from the CEV Championship, a dominant champion from there, and Fabio Quartararo, who's only like 15 years old, and he's going to be walking straight into the Galicia team alongside Jorge Navarro, who, you know, is riding for Galicia alongside Mark VDS, because obviously they've got 2 vacancies now. Given the fact that obviously Rins and Marquez have both moved up, you know, Rins to Pons and alongside Luis Salom next year, and you know, Alex Marquez is going to be Tito Rabat's teammates at Mark VDS, so Rabat's going to be showing Marquez the ropes. Apparently Alex Rins has already shown very, very good pace in testing, so it looks like Rins is adapting very quickly to the Moto2 bike. Well, going back to Moto2 for a minute, like, that championship is going to be probably seriously stacked next year. Like, ridiculously stacked. Like, there could be 8 or 9 dudes who could be challenging for a championship next year. Rabat, I think he'll still win. I think Rabat is heavy favourite because he's just so good and so consistent, and he's got that experience to go alongside the great raw speed he has. He's a metronome, Rabat. He reminds me a lot of a not quite so good Jorge Lorenzo, in the sense of he will just set the same lap over and over again. And if there's a practice session, he'll just spend the whole session just racking up the laps. Like, I remember in Silverstone he went on such a long stint he ran out of fuel. It was ridiculous. So that could easily be a thing, but you've got Alex Marquez. How good will he be as a rookie? Same for Alex Rins. Will the other rookies from last year kick on, like Jonas Volga and Luis Salom, who had flashes of brilliance last year but weren't consistent enough? Will Sandro Cortese ever find a way to improve? How will Thomas Luthi and Dominique Agata work out on Calax chassis bikes rather than Suiters, where they were able to challenge for wins and podiums, especially Luthi in the second half of the year, who seemed to have a bit of a career rebirth towards the end of this season, looking incredibly competitive, even winning 2 rounds and, you know, podiuming in 2 others in the second half of the year. So that's going to be something to look out for. Moto3 just has how will Quartararo work out. That's going to be a question. You know, like, I think Romano Fenati I'd have down as title favourite in Moto3 if it weren't for his terrible qualifying. Like, he always gives himself so much work to do, Fenati, that he hasn't got enough sheer pace to be able to claw it back half the time. I mean, yeah, he won in Aragon from 13th, but that's not a healthy way to win a championship. You've got to be up there in the field and make your life easier. He's a Sunday man, Fenati. He doesn't qualify well at all. Doesn't help he's kind of learning from Valentino Rossi in his camp, who was never the best qualifier himself. Getting pretty close to these leading 3. Can we get the win here to round off the year? That'd be pretty sweet. Going down the inside. He boxed out of Vinales. He got a drag. Are we faster than Kallio? Yes, we get the win on the line. Alright. Excellent. Well, at least we rounded off the year with a win and therefore second in the championship, because we needed to beat Kallio to do it. And we did by just half a tenth. So Kallio, Rabat, Vinales 4th. Excellent. So we get the win. We get to the 300-point barrier, 308, which is a great score. It's just Rabat's 370. That's incredible. But overall, yeah, second place in the championship was not bad at all, for considering I was on that Gresini for a long time and not up the front of the field. But, you know, if I stuck around next year with Pons, I think I'd have a very good chance of being able to win in the championship. But, you know, as you do. Oh, look, the Aspar team in Moto2. Hooray. And Luigi Spargaro. Nice. And we got another 50,000 fans for coming second in the championship as well. Just puts us over the 500,000 mark. So, we got one more test, and then that'll be the end of the season. But yeah, we got the win! As the two Monster Energy Mark VDS boys in the background just don't give a damn, because they're already like, Kallio's going to be pissed because he lost second in the championship right on the last round. maybe I am Maverick Vinales after all. Just blacker. But yeah, I just want to say as well, oh hello, we have offers in. Forward Racing have offered a contract, as well as Aspar, the Open Class Grassini bikes, Avintia have made an offer, Interwitten Suter at Moto2, and of course Moto3 offers as well, and obviously Pons want me to stay on for next year. Well, I had a couple of guys suggest I go to Aspar. A couple of guys said to go to Forward Racing. I wouldn't mind giving Alicia Spagaro a proper run for his money, because like Spagaro's rider rating is almost maximum, so the game recognises just how good Alicia is. We're going to Forward. I like Forward. They're a cool team. We'll go with those guys. We're going to MotoGP, everybody. Hell yeah! I must admit, I was half tempted to go with Reading and, you know, have the all British Open class combination there, but yeah, like me versus Alicia Spagaro, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, let's finish off the season with a test at Valencia. I don't know if it's going to be a Moto2 test or a Moto3 test. I'm not going to be quite sure about how that's going to work, to be honest, but it doesn't really matter anyway. But yeah, I mean, good offers, but I know the really, really big offers. You need, like, I think something like 1.5 million fans for that, so yeah, it's a shame as well, because I think Avintia, if they actually updated the bikes in this game, Avintia would be much higher up in terms of performance, because the fact they're on Ducatis now rather than Kawasaki's. So there we go, I'm with the Forward team. This is the info for the test. I've got to do a 130.1 to get the parts required for the test. So let's go chassis. Oh god, this bike looks nice though. I love the livery on this thing. I wonder if I go with the pink setup like Alicia did. That'd be pretty sexy actually. Actually, contrary, like pink is a real manly colour and it looks really good on black, guys, if you do it right. Whoa, look at this. The full MotoGP Honda with my name on the back. Look at this. Woohoo! I'm excited. Bike handles quite nicely as well as it goes. I'm following the footsteps of my boy Laurie Spaz, who is also a ridiculously tall dude for a bike rider. I'm 6'2" myself, so I kind of know the feeling. But this is what you're going to be seeing next year, folks. Or next season, I should say. And it'll be the first time I've done a full MotoGP season on this channel as well, so we can look forward to seeing that too. Because unfortunately, I kind of stopped bothering with MotoGP after I finished Season 2 and, you know, went against Reading in that championship in last year's game. Shame because it's just. Do you think it's shame because this is a video game? The downside about it is that, you know, the times are a bit unrealistic because, like, the fastest lap in MotoGP this weekend was a 130.9. This is a 130.1 is the target. Rails at 131 something. I don't think I'm expected to beat this target time, to be honest, because I think they're also expecting the bike to be fully developed. I don't think it really matters anyway because they've really reset development for the following season. I've got to try it though. But the bike feels really nice though. And I think the objectives are actually quite generous now, so it's like, I think the target will be like 15th place, so like getting the points basically, and I think I could easily get in the top 10 most rounds if I really wanted to. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watched over the course of the season. It's been fun as always to produce MotoGP videos, and I'd like to think I'm one of the better guys for producing MotoGP content and stuff you can actually talk about regarding the sport. Check me out on Bike Live as well, of course, on Downforce Radio on Friday nights at 8. Me, Lewis Sotheby, and the lovely Rebecca James talking all things motorcycle racing. We've got a couple more episodes left. I think we've got 2 more for the season. I think that'll be about it. Yeah, I'm not going to beat 130.1. It's not going to happen. Yeah, 131.7. Like, trust me, that's a much more realistic time for the bike I'm on than 130.1. But yes, new season underway. So, when we come back to MotoGP 14, Season 3 begins. Oh, look at that, I got a brand new upgraded spot as well. Awesome! So the target is 13th place, well that's going to be fun to check out. Also, do you like the red on the colour scheme, or do you want me to change it? You're cool, folks. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this season, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and hopefully we'll be back very, very soon for Season 3. Until then, I've been Harrison101. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Sayonara.